Students, welcome to Shorasa's classes. This is Himadri Datta. So in today's lecture, we will be solving past year's questions from different MCQs from past years. So we'll be focusing on the subject economics today. So the first question which we'll address, first I'll read out the question. It is given the short-run supply curve of a competitive firm is given by four options are given. Marginal cost curve of the firm, marginal cost curve above the average cost curve, the marginal cost curve above the average variable cost, and finally the last option is given as the upward sloping part of the marginal cost. So now what I'll do is I'll simply write down the question and the things which are given in order to make it clear further for you. So now what I'll do is in this question it is given. So this is the first question that we are solving now. It is given the short-run supply curve of a competitive firm is given by a short-run supply curve of a competitive firm is given by four options are given, where given by the marginal cost curve of the firm. So it is says the short-run supply curve of a perfect competitive firm is what? The marginal cost curve. Then the option B is given as it is marginal cost curve above the average cost curve. It is marginal cost curve above the average cost curve. Then option C is given as marginal cost curve above the average variable cost. And finally, the option D is given as upward sloping part of the marginal cost curve. So there are four options given. The first one is MC, MC above AC, MC above APC, and finally upward sloping part of the MC curve. So out of these four options, we need to find out which one will be the right one, that is the short-run supply curve under perfect competition. So for this, we have to solve this question. So we know there is the supply curve for a competitive firm is what? A supply curve. I'll simply draw the diagram on the right hand side in order to make it clear. So a supply curve under perfect competition is basically looks like this. It will be Y here. It will be X here. So on the X axis we will measure output, and on the Y axis we will measure cost. So on the X axis we will measure output, and on the Y axis we will measure cost. And now here the ABC curve will be U-shaped. We know for perfect competitive firm the ABC curve is U-shaped, and the MC curve will look like this, and the MC curve will look like this. So now here we know this is the minimum point of MC. This is the minimum point of MC, and this is the minimum point of ABC. So what we know is that in perfect competitive firm, the MC curve, when it lies above the minimum point of, that is when it lies above the ABC curve, which is the case here, we find that this portion is what? This portion is the supply curve. Why is this case? We know that in perfect competitive firm, in short run, the firm must at least attain or must at least cover up its fixed cost. That is, when the firm is only being able to cover up its fixed cost, which they anyway have to incur, we say that the firm lies in the minimum point of ABC. So the portion where MC curve is the supply curve, we know, Now the portion of MC which lies above the ABC, minimum point of ABC, which is this. So this point will be the supply curve. So for this we know the right answer would be option C. That is the point of MC which lies above ABC is what it is known as the supply curve of MC. So just allow me to rub this off so that I can explain it a bit with a different diagram. So in this diagram, if this is the price line, say this is P1 and say there is another price line P0. So, and this is MC. So we obviously know that where MC cuts P, which is AR line, this is AR naught equals to MR naught. This is AR1 equals to MR1. So we know for this reason that where AR1 is equals to MR1 equals to P, we get this is the price line for a perfect competitive firm. This he takes price, that is he is a price taker, and MC, where MC cuts MR from below, we get the equilibrium point. So there are two equilibrium points, this and this. Now what I'll do is I'll simply draw the AC curve. This is average cost curve and this is ABC curve. See, as you know, where AC curve is tangent to the equilibrium point, we call it normal profit. We call it what? Normal profit. Or we also call it break-even point. Now, where ABC curve is tangent to the equilibrium point, which is the case here, we call it shutdown point. Now, what is the concept of shutdown point here? Shutdown point is basically what? A point after which the production won't take place, because at this level the minimum of ABC is secured, a minimum of ABC is covered up, that is the fixed cost is at least covered up. Because no matter what happens, fixed costs are basically what? Equipment, machines and buildings that the firm has bought. So now, no matter whether production takes place or not, they anyway have to incur the cost for this infrastructure or this fixed cost, which we call fixed factors. For them, they have to incur the cost. So for this reason, we know that is at least the firm has to cover up its fixed cost. So this is why we know the minimum point of ABC when it is tangent to the price line or AR equals to MR, which is equilibrium point, we get what? We get shutdown point. Now you know that is even in this case, the MC curve when it lies above the ABC curve, which is the case here, this is the supply curve. So it is not when MC lies above the AC curve, it is not when MC at itself, which is the first option, rather when MC is above the ABC curve, we get what? We get the short run supply curve under perfect competition. So I hope you guys have understood it. If you still have any query or doubt, you can simply WhatsApp me on this number, which is 9836 793076, or you can also go to our website, which is www.showrupsersclasses.com. There you will find a lot of other videos like this, and you will also get to see a lot of other materials which are needed for different entrance exam. So now what I'll do is I'll straight go to another question. I hope you guys have understood it. If you still have any query, you can simply WhatsApp me on this number. Now I'll go to the second question. So before getting into the second question, allow me some time to rub it off. So now we have come to the next question. In this question it is given, currently state governments receive approximately which of the following shares of central government's gross tax collection. So there are four options given: 22%, 25%, 32% and 40%. So the question goes like this. Currently, state government receives approximately, so this question is given, currently state government receive approximately which of the following shares of central government. So state government receive which of the shares of central government. So there are four options given. So state governments receive approximately which of the following shares of central government gross tax collection. Central government's gross tax collection. So there are four options given. So the first option is given as 22%. The second option is given as 25%. The third option is given as 32%, and finally the last option is given as 40%. We know as per 13th Finance Commission, the state government received approximately what share of gross tax collection of central government? It will be equals to 32%. So central government, we need to remember what? State government received approximately what share of gross tax collection of central government? It is what? It is 32%. So for this question, the right answer, for question number 2, the right answer would be option C. So now I'll straight go to the next question. So in this next question, it is given fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is, four options are given: is a flow variable, is a stock variable, a ratio of flow variable to stock variable, and ratio of stock variable to flow variable. So for this we know, I'll simply write down the question once again. Fiscal deficit is what? Four options are given. Option A is given as flow variable. Option B is given as stock variable. Option C is given as flow variable to stock variable, ratio of flow variable to stock variable, and option D is ratio of So there are four options given. Fiscal deficit is what? Flow variable, stock variable, ratio of flow variable to stock variable, or ratio of stock variable to flow variable. So out of these four options, we need to understand that is fiscal deficit is basically a flow variable. Why? Because it is defined as per a period of time. So fiscal variable is what? Fiscal variable is basically a flow variable. Why? Because it is considered as per a time period. So we would write down what? That is fiscal deficit is what? A flow variable. Because it is as per a time period. So So for option question number 3, the right answer would be option A, that is fiscal deficit is what? Fiscal deficit is a flow variable. Now I'll go to the next question. So in this question it is given with a positive externality, there is under consumption in free market, there is over consumption in free market, the government may tax to decrease the production, and society could be made better off if less was produced. So 4 options are given. As you know, there is under consumption in free market, there is over consumption in the free market, the government may tax to decrease the production, and society could be made better off if it less was produced. So for this we know now I'll simply write down the question once again. So now we'll be dealing with question number 4. So in question number 4 it is given with a positive externality, what happens? There is under consumption in free market. So it says there is under consumption in free market. Then option 2 is given as there is over consumption in free market. Then the next option is given as government may tax to decrease production. Government may tax to decrease the production. And number 4 is given as society could be made better off if less was produced. So we know positive externality is basically a benefit enjoyed by firms due to external factors. So we know what positive externality is, a benefit. So it is a benefit. So now we have come to the next part. So in this question it is given. So we know positive externality is what? It is the benefit that the producer get. It is the benefit that the producers enjoy, which is determined by the exogenous factor. Which is determined by the exogenous factor. So we know when there is positive externality, what happens is that when there is positive externality, it is quite evident when there is positive externality, the price of good to fall. So when there is positive externality, the price of good usually falls. Why? Because the producers are benefited due to exogenous factor, positive exogenous factors. So as a result, what happens is that there is the case of incidence of overconsumption in free market. So there is overconsumption in free market due to what? Due to positive externality. So for this question, question number 4, we know what? For question number 4, the right answer would be option 2. So what did we do here? So in positive externality, what happens is that the price of the good is likely to fall as producers are better off. Now they are likely to reduce the price. So as a result, what happens is that the price of the goods falls, and there is the case of overconsumption. So for question number 4, we know the right option would be option 2. So now we have come to the last question. So in this question, street light is considered as a good example of public good. Why? There are 4 options are given: because it provided in public spaces, because its consumption is non-rival and non-exclusable, and because its consumption is rival but non-excludable, because its consumption is non-rival and excludable. We need not get into all this. All we have to remember is that in case of public good, what happens is, so now we'll explain it. So allow me to rub this off first. We know true important features of public good is what? True important features of public good is non-rivalry. That is, the public good is of nature of non-rival and non-excludable. Which means that there is no rivalry. Say for an example, the example which was given here is street light. So there is a street light in the street. So now no matter whoever goes through that street light, that path, they enjoy the light which is lightening the darkness. So what happens is that, so a straight light is basically what? It is for everyone. That is, it is not rival in nature. You do not rival, you do not fight, or you do not compete with others for the benefit that you get by that straight line. And on the other hand, it is also non-excludable. It is also what? It is also non-excludable. Non-excludable means what? Non-excludable is basically the feature that you cannot simply exclude people. Like say for an example, you cannot say this person gonna enjoy the benefit and this person not gonna enjoy this benefit. So it is not even excludable. So it is the public good, which is a street light, is the feature of it is what? That is, it is non-rival and non-excludable in nature. So for this reason we know street light is a public good. Why? Because it is non-rival and non-excludable in nature. So in today's video we solved a couple of questions. So I hope you guys have understood it. If you still have any query or doubt, you can simply WhatsApp me on this number, which is 9836793076, or you can also go to our website, which is www.showupsearchclasses.com. There you will find a lot of other videos like this, and you will also get to see a lot of other materials which are needed for different entrance exam. So thank you for watching this video and have a nice day ahead.